me fucking scoot back a little so I guess so I don't punch the microphone. Hey, come listen to our podcast, yeah. Please listen, it's a hitch. If you don't listen to our podcast, yeah, then you are a bitch.
Welcome to Filmoscopy Podcast, the podcast where a couple of young bucks like ourselves get together and discuss a film that is meant to be the most terrifying film you've ever seen.
Yeah, it truly is. This movie will make you piss yourself, much like a character in the movie does.
Yeah, much like Olivia does in the movie.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to be honest, I do not remember any of their names.
Really?
I remember Mia. Is her name Mia?
Oh, yeah, Mia. I mean,
'cause
they only say her name about
1,000 fucking
times.
Yeah. So I know her name, but I don't know anybody else. I kept calling the main character, or not even the main character because he dies. But he might as well be the main character. The guy. I kept calling him Ash. Yeah, I just kept calling him like Ash Jr.
Yeah, so that's actually something I wanted to bring up about this film, but we can go ahead and talk about it. They very much, I think, wanted to give you that that kind of like switcheroo at the end, right? Like the whole time, I think you're meant to believe that David is the Ash parallel, and in a lot of ways he is.
And then they flip the script on you at the end there. She gets the hand cut off, replaces it. Mm-hmm. Well, it doesn't replace it, but uses the chainsaw and stuff. We're talking about the Evil Dead remake, the 2013, by the way. I don't know if we said that.
We are discussing the Evil Dead remake from 2013. Well, pseudo remake, soft reboot, reimagining sequel. The Evil Dead timeline is very confusing.
Yeah, because I've seen even like in like I don't know, because I thought that this one took place in the same universe. I literally thought, like, in my head at the end, okay, I thought Bruce Campbell showed up in this one, like, at the end or some shit.
Yeah, it's like a scene, I think, partway into the credits.
Oh, really? I missed that.
It's just a quick shot of, like, Bruce Campbell, and he, like, kind of looks back at the camera, and he says, groovy, and then it goes off.
Okay.
So yeah,
I skipped through the credits to try and find something, but I just heard the the guy from the first movie like doing the expedition dialogue. That's all I heard. I didn't see that though.
Yeah. If I remember right, because I didn't watch to it this time, just because it's such a small thing that's not like anything like super interesting for someone. If you've never seen it before, it's like, oh, cool, like a callback. But if I remember correctly, it comes in right after like the stylized portion of the credits, like, and then before like the regular just like credit scroll comes in.
Okay, yeah.
But this film is very much like, at the time I remember it being talked about like it was a reboot or a remake. I heard both things kind of being thrown around.
Yeah, but this was that era where you had like RoboCop and shit like that, like. This is the reboot era, pretty much. So
yeah, and this is the era that Scream 4 kind of made fun of back in like 2011. Where it's like we're gonna reboot it, but we're still gonna bring the old cast back or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's a big. Even that's happening today. I can't think of a movie off the top of my head like very recently that came out, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you feel about all that kind of stuff. I don't know if we ever talked about how we feel about like the reboot trend.
I think we briefly touched on it when we talked about I want to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2022 one. But we were really only talking about it in the context of like slasher films. Yeah. As far as like this general era of like, oh yeah, we're gonna reboot the franchise, with a whole new cast and all that. I don't mind it as long as it's executed well, because it is kind of pitiful in a way. Like when you look at something like Ghostbusters Afterlife, for example, where at the end they wheel out the remaining Ghostbusters who are still alive, and they look decrepit.
remember
Like,
them? They're like, what?
yeah, but
What'd you say?
besides Ernie Hudson, like the rest of them all look like they're falling to pieces. It just
Yeah.
it's kind of in the moment. It's like it gets a cheap like rise out of you if you're a fan, you know. But like when you really think about it, it's like, man, this is kind of sad. Just like
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I get what you're saying there, and I totally agree. It's like it feels so just corporate and like creatively bankrupt in a way, just to be like, look, here's the. It's the same thing with the new Star Wars movies. I mean, I know we talk about Star Wars all the fucking time, but you know, when they wheel out, Harrison Ford and stuff like that, and you know, it's like, okay, we get it. We watched these movies before. Even Star Wars is kind of like a soft reboot in ways. So I don't know. This was definitely of that era, and I don't know.
yeah. And
I agree with you. Sorry, I was just gonna close out. I guess kind of my thoughts on it is I agree with you that I think if it's well done, a good remake can work well. I think this one was good for what it was in a lot of ways. If this one feels like it just took the source material and kind of changed it up in its own way, like it did kind of what it wanted to do by itself, just by taking elements, and I kind of like that. I feel like if you have no knowledge of the old movies, you could totally enjoy this movie by itself.
Yeah, and I do think like it is interesting because just talking about it as though it's a remake is you can see how one would perceive it that way, right? Because like they go to this cabin, the cabin looks very similar to the one from the first two films. But it looks very similar. You have a similar like assortment of characters. You even have what you think is supposed to be the main character, David, and his sister and his girlfriend and his best friend, and there's another female friend there, and it sets it up a lot really similarly. The main piece of the setup that is different is the reason why they're there, because if I remember right, in the first one they go there just as like,
it's just for like, fun.
Yeah, we're going just to party and hang out or whatever.
We love to hang out in spooky redneck cabins in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
some of the teenagers love to do. They don't even like drink or anything or like fuck in the first movie. It's just like they're just like hanging out, literally.
Yeah, well, I think that was a little bit before the time of like every slasher or horror movie needed to have sex scenes and all that. But yeah, this one it's like they're going out there because they need to be somewhere secluded because Mia has a drug problem and they're trying to get her clean.
Yeah. I do think it's a weird like it's weird in this movie that when they do see like the stuff in the basement, I mean they're not like, that doesn't raise any alarms. They don't feel like they need to leave at that point. Like if I saw like a bunch of dead cats and shit in the basement, I'd probably be like, fuck this.
Oh yeah, and especially because it's their childhood like vacation home or whatever.
That's something. So I thought about that too, because I remember them saying something like that, but I kind of forgot about it halfway, and I thought I imagined them saying that. But I don't know.
Yeah, they remind you in the end when I think before David blows himself up, he like looks over at like pictures of him and Mia and their parents or whatever. If I remember correctly. And I just watched it this morning, but it's been a long day. So but yeah, before we get any further in the discussion, and I do want to dive deeper into like the parallels between David and Ash. Let me just run through the basic, the basic rigmarole here. Okay. So, Evil Dead 2013 was released theatrically on April 5th, 2013. It has a running time of 92 minutes, though there is an extended unrated cut, which is the version I watched, that is 96 minutes. I don't know exactly what the difference is. Yeah, because I've only ever watched the unrated cut.
Yeah, I watched the hour 30-minute version.
Okay.
I don't. It must have had like. Were there? I don't know. I wish I could just list off some stuff, but I don't know.
I might be able to actually scroll. I may actually be able to see here. Let's see. Extended version featuring an alternative ending, which I didn't even know that was part of the Blu-ray. It's actually the alternate ending is actually a deleted mid-credit scene, apparently, that they had planned to use in the theatrical version, and various other deleted clips. All right, hold on. Let me go through the.
I wonder if that Bruce Campbell scene at the end might have been added in that.
I don't know, because I feel like the Bruce Campbell thing was in the original movie, but this is suggesting that the deleted ending or the alternate ending was originally planned to be part of like a mid-credit scene or whatever when they released it in theaters, and I guess they decided for whatever reason to be like, yeah, we're not going to do that. Maybe they weren't really sure.
I'm trying to scroll through and I do not see the Bruce Campbell. So you're saying it goes from when it's the credit scene of the actors and stuff, and then it cuts to just the normal credits. I don't see a extra scene, so that must be something that they added with the Bruce Campbell in there.
Maybe,
wait, hold on.
Possibly.
It might be here at the end.
I don't think it's its own scene. It's probably just included in the credits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just at the end of the credits. He shows up at the end of the credits. Never mind.
Okay. Yeah. So just glancing at this website, moviecensorship.com, it says that there's 27 differences. There's actually 21 additional scenes in the extended version. There's one additional scene in the theatrical version that is different than the extended version, and then there's 5 scenes in the extended version that have differences from the theatrical version. So it's with there being 27 additional scenes, it's probably like very brief things, and it's possible we'll stumble across some of them while we're discussing the film, and I may mention something you're like, oh, I didn't see that, so
yeah, exactly.
But all right, just to go back through, just to finish off the regular information, it's directed by Fede Alvarez, which we talked a little bit about him during the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre episode because he produced the film. And I don't know if you remember, but at the time I was excited for the movie because I thought he was directing it. He has only directed 3 films so far, and he's working on his 4th film as a director. Evil Dead was his first film he ever directed, which is crazy. I guess Sam Raimi discovered him because of some of his short films or something that he did, and decided to pick him as the director. Let's see. The film had a budget of $17 million, and it brought in a box office of $97.5 million. And the main cast, I'm not going to go into like who plays like the characters in the beginning of the film, but the main cast is Jane Levy as Mia Allen, Shiloh Fernandez as David Allen, Lou Taylor Pucci as Eric, Jessica Lucas as Olivia, and Elizabeth Blackmore as Natalie. These are your 5 main characters in the film. I know this is the first time you've ever watched this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What were your general mile high impressions of the film?
So I'm gonna be honest. Going into it, I've already said my piece on remakes and stuff like that. So I was kind of like standoffish of the movie. Mm-hmm. I did think I probably wouldn't enjoy it, but going into it, the beginning didn't really win me over. But I think as it started going on, and as shit started going down, and you had characters turning into deadites and stuff like that, I was kind of sucked in a little bit. I mean, I just really like the Evil Dead premise, so I think it's really easy to win me over with that. And the special effects were really cool. Maybe now they're not as stand out because I think practical effects have made like a big return, like in a big way recently. But I'm sure in 2013 that was like a huge thing. That's one of the things I think I see everywhere is that everybody always talks about these practical effects in this movie, and they are really good. So
yeah. So my experience with the film, I know I didn't go see it in theaters. I think that the first time I ever saw it was, I think I may have rented it from Redbox or something when it came out on DVD, and just absolutely loved it at the time. Now, the first time I ever watched it, I did find it like really unsettling and creepy. Um, a lot of it has to do, I think, with the Deadites' faces. Like, it's just like they do such a good job with kind of making you feel uncomfortable. Especially, I think a lot of it has to do with like the contacts, the color contacts that they use.
Yeah.
Um,
And
and then
just
of
that
course,
kind of possession, playing into that kind of possession thing is kind of creepy. It's why people were freaked out
yeah,
about, The Exorcist and stuff like that. It's just in concept, it's kind of creepy.
yeah, the whole idea that something sinister is taking over your body. But I've watched it, I don't know, probably 10 times since then. Shortly after renting it and watching it, I got it on Blu-ray. And yeah, that has been my anytime I feel like watching The Evil Dead, typically I'll put this movie on instead of one of the older ones.
You don't like the funny comedy ones?
I do. I mean, they're good. There's not any Evil Dead movies that I don't like. I do think the first one is a little rough, and we talked about
the
that
first
when we
one.
did that episode.
I think that's definitely something versus this one and the other one. I like both of them for different reasons, but they have their own appeals, right? So the first one's really is kind of campy, or I think that's a good word for it. It's very aged. Some of the acting's kind of funny. But you can see like under the surface, there's a pretty good movie in there, and this one has like a pretty slick production. Everything looks good. The premise is still cool. It's got the same general premise, so that can draw you in.
Right.
And the all the effects are really good, so that's kind
Yeah.
of
And what's funny about the premise is like this is the third the third movie that has this premise basically, because we haven't covered Evil Dead 2 yet on this podcast, but Evil
it's
Dead 2
basically a remake.
Yeah, and Bruce Campbell has said that in interviews before, right? That they wanted to basically remake Evil Dead 2 because they had more of a budget and they felt like they could do more justice to the story or whatever. But at the same time, they were like, well, we don't want to just do a outright remake. We want, because, people had already seen the first movie, so they made it, again, a pseudo sequel / remake where technically this
really ahead of their time, right?
Yeah, I mean, technically you could watch both of them back to back, and it flows together because the second movie picks up immediately where the first one leaves off, but the whole like overall idea of the plot is basically the same thing. The only difference is it's not a group of his friends; it's like these strangers that show up to the cabin or whatever, and I think they own the cabin, and then but similar events, occur during the film with the possessions and but Evil Dead 2 is actually where Ash gets his hand cut off and he attaches the chainsaw and all that.
He gets the chainsaw hand, and he doesn't get he uses the double barrel shotgun, but I think that's an Army of Darkness thing more than it is.
I think it's more right. I think it's more iconic to Army of Darkness, which is a completely just
completely.
It's bizarre,
absolutely different. I remember watching it because when I was younger, I watched all those movies back to back. So I watched the first one and I liked it, and I watched the second one and I loved it, and I watched the third one and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, it's completely different.
It was tonal whiplash. It's like I got punched in the head. Like I was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, because if I remember right, that movie starts off at the S Mart, right?
That's the first thing.
S-Mart.
Yeah, he does the goofy. It's like watching. It's like more similar in tone to like Bill and Ted or something. Like it's so completely different. But yeah, you're right. It starts there, and he does this little. That just sets the tone for it being a comedy. But This one,
Yeah.
but this remake here that goes completely. I don't think there's any parts in it where it kind of is goofy, except the
No.
part that we talked about before we recorded, where the thing goes up her vagina and it makes a cartoon sound effect, which made me laugh.
Which, yeah, I think it's completely unintentional. Because this movie definitely like leans all into the horror aspect of it. Whereas the first three films, like it started horror, but it's kind of campy, and then it slowly, adopts more of that campiness and more comedic tone. This is all about like the horror, and there are shots in this film that still kind of unsettle me. Now, a lot of it is like the some of the graphic violence, like when Olivia is possessed and attacks Eric and like stabs him in the eye with that needle.
Oh yeah, that was definitely an uncomfortable part. And when he pulls it out, that was pretty cool.
Yeah,
you had to. Yeah. I feel like there are parts in this movie where you do have to like be like, okay, they're just special effects. You kind of got to remind yourself that, or you get kind of grossed out. Like when
that's the thing.
When she burns herself like in the water, like with the boiling water. That was kind of like a part for me where I was like, ugh.
Yeah, and that's the great thing I think about practical effects is like it's believable, right? Especially with how well they are done in this film.
Yeah, because they react, the actors react to it, and that's really, I think, the greatest thing about it. They're tangible, they're not looking at like shitty CGI. Who did? Do we have any like info on who did the practical effects for this? Or
let me see if I can find it real quick. I will say that there is I know after this movie came out for a few years, because there was talk of doing a sequel, right? And they wanted to follow Mia as the protagonist for the next film.
Yeah.
And apparently Jane Levy wanted nothing to do with it. It was a very traumatic experience filming this.
Really?
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that it was practical effects, and she spent most of the movie covered in
and the makeup and doing the scary voice.
So like she, I think it just really wore her down, and she didn't want anything to do with it. But they did. I guess they probably had to get her permission because it's her likeness. But with the Evil Dead game, they added a Evil Dead 2013 expansion that added Mia and David to the game as playable characters. And unfortunately, I don't think that they added the Abomination as
a monster.
As a villain, yeah, because you can. Yeah. It's that type of game, where it's like
it's Dead by Daylight, right?
Yeah, basically, except a great open world, and I think it's a lot better than Dead by Daylight.
Yeah. What's the Abomination? Is that what's at the end of the movie that she cuts open, like with the chainsaw? Okay, I just thought that was her, like again.
No, so I think that it adopted her face, and it may have. I'm still unclear.
It's a really weird part of that movie. She just kind of like pops back. I know he was like trying to revive her. Like I don't know, he kills her, like he buries her, and then he tries to revive her, and then that doesn't work, and then she's alive again.
Yeah, that part is kind of weird. Like I was like, okay, because she's still laying there, not breathing or anything, and then she just like randomly is like, oh, yep, I'm back.
Yeah.
That I think that is a moment where it's just kind of like you just gotta, I guess, suspend your disbelief a little bit. I'm still.
Isn't she like completely clean too? She's like, there's no dirt on her or anything.
Yeah, like it's completely. Her burns are gone. Yeah, it completely like revitalized her. So just going back to David and his parallels to Ash. They very clearly want you to believe that he is the new Ash, partly because he's wearing almost the same exact clothes that Ash wears.
Yeah, like the blue
the earlier
shirt.
movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the blue shirt and all that, and obviously, like he's the guy who's there with his sister, like Ash was, and his girlfriend is there, like Ash's was, and he's the one that's kind of like, I don't know. He's the one I guess that's trying to like hold everything together.
He does the same thing, that Ash does in the first one, where he's kind of he's the leader of the situation. Do you? I don't know. I didn't find the actor like to be as charming as Bruce Campbell, really. So I didn't like really attach to him that much. I didn't know. Yeah, if you had anything. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, like, I that's one of the things I didn't really attach to much of the characters. I mean, you kind of like Mia because she goes through all that stuff, and at the end she does the cool badass thing where she chops the demon in half. So that's cool, but I don't know. I didn't feel very attached. I mean, she's a monster for half the film. She's like the antagonist, so. But outside of that, I wasn't really uber attached to any of the characters.
Okay, so I think for me personally, Mia is probably the only one that I'm attached to, and it's a lot of it comes, from probably watching the film so many times, to be honest. But it's like Mia's going through some like bad stuff throughout the film, right? I mean, she's going into withdrawals for one. And then all this fucked up stuff is happening because Eric decides I'm going to be a complete
He's going to read this book out loud that says don't read it and shit.
Yeah, it literally says don't read the words, don't hear the word, and it's like,
and the old one doesn't the like same equivalent character, I think he does it like as a joke, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're mocking it because I think it's just kind of like bullshit.
But in this one, he's like fucking, I don't know. He's not even reading it out loud to anybody. He's just reading it out loud to himself like an asshole.
Yeah, and he, what's even worse is he has to go out of his way to figure out what the words are because he has to like do like the FBI trick where you use the paper and the pencil to uncover what was written, and it's
Detective.
And it's just. It makes me irrationally angry watching that scene.
Yeah, he's such an asshole. It's like at least he gets he gets the most like beat the fuck up in this movie, though. His hand gets split, gets needles in his eyes and stuff. So
yeah, and somehow he's still like walking around even though he's gushed probably like.
He should have been dead. Yeah, he should have been dead. Probably like I don't know that wound like over his heart should have had him on his ass, and then. Past that, him getting his head beat in, like it's over for him. Like he's on a bed, like sleeping for like 10 hours or dying from like a concussion.
Right? Yeah. It's insane that he's still walking around.
The characters take a lot of abuse in this movie, which I think is kind of cool. That's something I sort of like about these movies in like a weird way. I like it when the characters have to go through a lot, and I think it's cool, like, even in calling back to the old Evil Dead's, like, Ash gets his hand cut off, but, he overcomes that and, gets a badass chainsaw hand. And, there's an element kind of to that in this movie, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Ash ends up with, like, a mechanical hand in Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh, really? Yeah, I think I saw it. It's like a glove or like a gauntlet or something.
Yeah, and he can like take it off and still attach other things to his hand, but
like a feather duster.
They make a lot of jokes about that in that show.
Yeah, isn't that's from Billy and Mandy has a character that does a. Do you remember? I don't know if you ever watched Billy and Mandy. They had Haas Delgado.
But I can't. Who?
Haas Delgado. I
do not remember enough about that show.
He's the guy. He has like an eye patch. He has like ginger hair. He kind of looks like Snake Plissken, but he has like a iron hand, and he puts a chainsaw on it sometimes.
Yeah, man, it's been so long since I've seen that show. Like I can very clearly see Billy, Mandy, and Grimm all together, but I cannot remember any other characters from it.
I don't know. I guess I'm weird because I don't know. I watched that movie that show when I was really young, so it's impressed into my brain. But anyways, I'm just saying Billy and Mandy did it first. All right.
Yeah, even though they probably got the idea.
Yeah, they definitely stole it just from. He's just a rip off of Snake Plissken and Ash from Evil Dead. So,
um, but yeah, like I think just going back to the attachment thing, Mia's the one that goes through the biggest journey, right? And honestly, she's kind of the only one that shows a lot of emotion in the film too.
Yeah. She's like the best actress. I think.
Yeah.
I think she has some of the best emotional scenes, I guess.
Yeah, and a lot of like fans of the Evil Dead franchise like really love that character too. So I know like when going back to the Evil Dead game, when it was first announced and they were like slowly revealing who was going to be in it when it launched, Mia was always one that was like brought up, like, is Mia going to be in it, and you know, they unfortunately waited till like release her like 2 or 3 DLC packs in. But it probably came down to trying to get like approval or whatever to, like I said, to use her likeness and all that for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as the other characters though, you do have like the dopey, careless character in Eric. You have a nurse who is Eric and Olivia are essentially Mia's best friends. Though it seems like they're friends with David too. Olivia being
tension there or something like that. I don't know. He stood him up, something like that.
Yeah, so the tension comes from, for one, they are aware of the whole situation with Mia's mom and her passing away, and Mia being the only one that ever went to visit her, and their mom was in a mental institute, and she ended up dying, and David would always apparently say that he was going to go visit her or whatever, and he just never did, and I think it really comes down to him just not wanting to be around their mom and seeing her that way. But then, there's this whole thing that they went through the process a year before this of trying to get Mia clean. What did they say? Something like 12 hours later, she was already using again.
Yeah, I think.
And they did the whole scene where Mia is like making the whole like speech, and she's dumping out she's dumping the drugs into the well. It's so melodramatic.
Pour one out for your homies.
Yeah, it's like, man, this is like, it is kind of corny.
Yeah, I don't. Do you like the set? I saw something because I was just kind of reading reviews and stuff, and it was weird to see how divided this is. I guess this is a movie you either love or hate, or you're just like me and you think it's okay. But I don't know. I think
it's very people, love or hate.
Yeah,
I think it's very love or hate in the franchise fans or whatever. That's
exactly what it seems. Because I'm not like I like Evil Dead, but I'm not like a huge like diehard Evil Dead like kind of guy. So I don't know. I was fine with it. But one of the things I saw brought up, and I kind of agree with, is that so I don't know. It's a little weird, but the idea was that so in the original movie, right, they're going on like a vacation, so they don't expect anything bad to happen, right?
Yeah.
But in this one, they're going there basically just to hold Mia captive because she's trying to go cold turkey. So they do kind of expect something. I mean, I'm not saying they expect like fucking devil possession to go wrong, but there's a level of apprehension inherent with that kind of setup, if you get what I'm saying. So I saw somebody complaining that that kind of undermines the reveal. That plus I think the prologue scenes where you already kind of see the Deadite reveal. But the thing with that, I think, is like we already kind of know what a Deadite is. So I guess I could let it pass that you had that little prologue scene with the weird hillbilly in the background who has like a melted face for some reason.
The prologue scene, that is one of the few things in the film I don't like. Like, I understand that they're doing it partly because they want to show the audience like this is what we're dealing with in this movie, but it's also
but you could
it's
I feel like
also
you could just show that within the movie, like kind of how the first movie did, I feel like, and I'm sure you probably agree that you could just cut that whole segment out, like it doesn't mean anything.
yeah. And you could do the whole basement, the cellar reveal differently. You don't have to have the scene of like the burned post and all that, but you can still have like the dead cats hanging around, and you find the book of the Necronomicon down there.
Yeah, it would honestly be more interesting in that kind of setup, I would say.
Yeah, the prologue I agree with, but the setup of I don't agree with that particular person's viewpoint on the setup of the main characters being there and expecting something bad to go wrong, because you got to remember that the first person to witness anything actually happening is Mia, and they all kind of just chalk it up to, oh well, she's in withdrawals, so she's seeing crazy shit, or she's making it up because she wants to leave.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
So they're not really concerned about that kind of stuff. Plus, when like you're just told like, yeah, the tree, I was attacked by the trees, and I saw this woman out in the woods who wanted to hurt me or whatever, is like,
and
it's
something
like,
went up my vagina and went
it went
ah. But, I don't know. I found myself I mean, I wasn't too attached to the guy's idea, but I guess I kind of agreed with him. I think more what I agree with is like or not really agree with, but one of the things I only have a few issues with a couple of things, and what I mentioned there, but the prologue was one of them. And another thing is that I kind of don't like that it makes sense that they would go to a place that they had known from their childhood, but I don't know if I think I'd rather it just be like a creepy random cabin that I don't know, they found out about or heard about or something,
Yeah, I think that could have played better.
Yeah, because it raises the question, like, how did they not find that cellar when they were kids, or
Yeah, I never, you know what, I never actually thought about that. It's like, I guess maybe the parents just never had any reason to go down there or something.
Yeah, I guess not. Like, I feel like they would have smelled, like, if she could smell it then, like, she probably wouldn't be able to smell it back then,
No, so I think what she was smelling in the cabin was like, like the rotten. There was like burning hair and like the stale blood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which my impression is that stuff happened in sometime in the years between probably when they were last there as kids and when they went back for this.
Okay.
Because the cabin itself also looks kind of unkempt, right? Like no one's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
So,
I guess I assumed that prologue scene had happened way before, like, all of this, like that had happened way back in the day before they were kids or whatever.
I think that my impression is that it happened in between. So,
so all right, that alleviates my problem, I guess, with that scene then, because that was part of the issue I had, was just like, I guess I thought those cats. Well, I guess that makes sense too, because those cats weren't like mummified and decayed; they were still kind of there. So
once they get to the cabin, and like I do think that it is a tad bit slow with like getting to the point that you already know you're trying to get to. And I think the prologue actually makes this a little bit worse, because you already immediately from the jump you're getting this scene of like these people kidnapping this girl, and you're like, what in the hell's going on? And then of course she ends up being a deadite, and then you just like have a good what would you say, 20 minutes or so of just like really just like kind of slow plotting. I mean, they're setting everything up, but it's just like, man, you really wanted to get back to it. Yeah.
I mean, I think the slow burn's important, but I definitely don't think you would have that whiplash. Like I said, if that prologue probably wasn't there, you probably would be okay with that.
well, I guess we can run through the plot and we can kind of bring up any points we want to, because the plot's not very long.
If
or
you want the
complex.
plot, I guess you could just go watch go listen to our Evil Dead first podcast. There you go.
Well, the plot does have some differences to it.
We're just gonna,
especially like with the way people die in this film.
mm-hmm.
You know what? Let's just talk about. We'll talk about some of the highlights then, because there's no real reason to go through every little detail. After Mia is attacked, and they take and like let's see, she's attacked. They go back to the cabin, and I think we get the shower scene then, right, where she like it gets set on fire.
Yeah,
and,
we have the setup that the dog, she finds the dog dead.
Which sucks. I always hate when they do that in movies.
Yeah, the heckin' pupperino.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so the David character finds that, he gets mad. He suspects that it was her because she's been wigging out because of her.
Yeah.
He suspects because of her heroin, withdrawal. I don't know if heroin withdrawal, maybe like a heroin high would probably make you like kill a dog with a hammer, but I guess I don't know. But anyways, yeah, he breaks down the door and she starts like burning her skin off. So that's the way.
Yeah, and then he tries to rush her to the hospital. That's when it's finally like, okay, we're gonna try and leave now. But this is what I wanted to get. Basically, what I want to bring up about this is when they reach the point where you get the high water, and it's such a good shot, and it's so subtle too, where he's standing outside the car and he like looks back at her, and she's still got like foam like spilling from her mouth, from where she was seizing, but she's just like looking at him, looking kind of like down at him, and like this little smile on her face.
Yeah, very slowly too. You kind of gotta sit there and watch it. You kind of have to do a double take a little bit too, just to catch it. She does do the little
and
smile.
she hasn't even gone like full deadite yet either. That I think that actually happens next. So they get her back, and like the nurse Olivia gives her a sedative or whatever, and then she still gets up and walks in the room with a shotgun and shoots David.
Yeah,
and that's when she
goes full crazy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she pukes on that girl's face.
Yeah.
With the blood. I'd be like, damn, let's get her heroin back, guys. Fuck this shit.
Yeah, this is disgusting. Fuck this.
Alright, so this is what withdrawal's like? Fuck that. Somebody get back in the well. Shit.
The vomiting too is like, it's always been confusing for me, because at one point in my life, I thought that was how they transferred, like, the deadite, I don't know, the deaditism or whatever to other people.
I guess it's like a zombie bite now or something, but I don't know.
But it doesn't really line up, because she pukes in Olivia's face, and then, of course, she's the next one to become a deadite. Yeah. And then Mia bites... I can't remember her name.
We can just say the girlfriend or wife or fiance.
Yeah, the girlfriend.
She is.
Yeah, she bites the girlfriend, and she thinks that if she cuts her arm off, then she'll be all right. And she still ends up turning into a deadite. And then Eric later on, he just gets like, after taking like severe abuse throughout the movie.
He never gets like bit or anything. He just eventually turns into one.
Yeah, he just kind of turned into one. So I wonder if it's just a matter of like, well, I don't know, because I thought, well, maybe since Eric died eventually, maybe it was like, well,
I guess
his soul was claimed or whatever. But
yeah, I guess that would make sense, because that's how it works in the first one, right? Is they get killed and then they come back.
I don't think so, because I think, if I remember right, her name's Lisa, which I can't remember if it's Ash's sister or girlfriend.
I
can't remember, but
it don't really matter.
Yeah, I mean, at the end, she just kind of like walks in the room or whatever. She's there, and she's a deadite, which she was probably the only creepy deadite in that whole movie. Like, I don't know what it was about her, but she like really unsettled me whenever I watched it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So let's. Mia gets locked in the cellar, I believe, at this point, and if I remember right, she gets locked.
Yeah,
in.
she gets like thrown off of her, and she falls down into the cellar. Then they close it up.
Yeah, but they just at this point they've just used like the latch or whatever. They haven't like done the chains or whatever yet.
Yeah, yeah.
And Olivia, I think Olivia has one of the coolest Deadite scenes in the whole movie, where, you know, she's trying to get the sedatives prepared or whatever to give to Mia, and then she sees the reflection in the mirror of her face all cut up.
Yeah.
And then she's walking out, but then she stops, and you know she can't move, and she ends up peeing herself.
She pisses her pants, man.
She's so scared.
That's the worst part of being a Deadite is piss yourself. It's the pure embarrassment.
Yeah. And then Eric finds her, and she's like sitting in the shower, slicing her face all up.
He's like, "Oh my god, why'd you pee yourself? The fuck? It smells so bad." He's like, "Oh my god, really? We have to get you in a diaper." Yeah.
Oh.
He slips on a tongue, doesn't he?
No, I think it's the chunk of her, cheek or whatever
cheek
that she's cut off. Yeah.
I thought it was her tongue that he slipped on.
No, I think it's her cheek. I think because she didn't like cut it and then just like open it up. Like she sliced a chunk out of it.
Yeah. I thought she was gonna like cut her whole face off though, which probably would have looked like creepier and probably cooler. Kind of like how it shows in the book.
I wonder if they maybe, I'm curious if maybe they thought of trying it, but they just couldn't get any. Maybe they couldn't get the effects to like, look not goofy, you know. Yeah. There is a point where like if you go too far with it, it's like, oh, this looks kind of stupid, you know.
Yeah. I have a question about the book. So like, what's the deal with like the weird random writings where it's like burn the bitch and shit? Like I don't like. I don't know. It's weird to me. Did somebody? So obviously a Deadite didn't write that, right? Or like obviously that's not from
I think my impression of it is that it's someone who had obtained the book in the past and was like scribbling notes, but there are certain notes scribbled in there that are kind of contradictory to like a lot of them are like instructions or warnings, right?
Yeah.
But there are some in there that it just like kind of come off as like, what is this? Because it seems more like the Deadites or whatever were the ones writing it. Mm-hmm. At least in the red ink or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, it's hard to say. I think that
I thought that some of them were kind of goofy though. That's my only.
Like what?
I don't know. I can't even really think of it. But yeah, like the one that says "burn the bitch." Like in that prologue scene when they're like trying to do like what feels like some kind of like ancient ritual, and it just says like "burn the bitch" in the book that she's reading like the old language from. It's just kind of, I don't know. That's kind of funny to me. But
yeah, I think
just a nitpick.
Right, and I think again that's someone's. Because that's in one of there's 3 ways to cleanse somebody, right? And that is on the page where it's saying that you can burn the person to cleanse the Deadite from them. And then, there's bury alive, and what was the third one? Do you remember?
I do not. I cannot tell you.
Do you know what the third entry was? C. Delicioso.
Cut off their arms and legs.
God, what was the third one? I can't remember now. Damn.
Yeah, I can't help you. I don't remember. Live burial, dismemberment, or burning. So I guess I was right.
Yeah, dismemberment. But yeah, Olivia, going back to Olivia's scene, she ends up attacking Eric after he slips and falls, and this is when you get the really just like hard to watch part where she's like stabbing him in the face and all this stuff, and with a needle.
She does it like really cool. I like the way she I don't know what else to call it, choreography. Like just the way she stabs, it's kind of creepy. So that's cool.
Yeah. then Eric ends up bashing her head in. Which I don't, if I remember right, she doesn't die from him initially attacking her that way. She gets up, right? And then
Yeah, he
else
like hits
happens.
her on the head once, I think, and then she gets up a little bit, and then he beats her more.
Yeah, that's right, because he pushes her off of him and she like slips and hits her head on the toilet or the sink or something like that. And then she gets up and he takes the back of the top of the toilet or whatever and beats her to death with it.
Mm-hmm.
This is when we're introduced to one of the funniest things about this movie. Like, to me, the only comedic thing, and it's like David finds the roll of duct tape.
Yeah,
and he's like, the duct tape, he uses it for everything. He uses it to patch up Eric after he's stabbed in the chest.
Oh yeah.
He uses it on him. He uses it after his girlfriend cuts her arm off, and he like tries to
dude, it works for everything, dude.
Yeah.
Wait, does he try to? I don't remember. What does he try to? Does he like try to tape her arm back?
No, he doesn't try and take it back, but she's like cut it off, and he's like wrapping it around like the end that's still there, and like I guess trying to get it to quit bleeding by like putting duct tape around it. And then he also uses it to like create his little makeshift defibrillator for Mia.
He's handy.
It's like, man, yeah. All he needs is a roll of duct tape.
That's a universal tool, dude.
His girlfriend goes back to the house to get sugar and water, like Men in Black. Sugar.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think of that. Sugar.
And water. More. She gets distracted by Mia because the door, if I remember right, the door is open to the cellar at this point.
Yeah, and it opened and she starts talking like that she's back to normal and stuff like that. Normal Deadite shit. She's like the only Deadite I think that like really talks, right? Outside of the other ones might have like a couple lines, I think.
Yeah, Olivia doesn't talk as a Deadite. Eric doesn't talk as a Deadite. Oh no, Eric does talk. He says one line. He says, he's coming.
So he's coming. Oh. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Gross, dude. Nasty. That's the...
Dave was like, ugh, and then he shoots the gas.
Yeah, he's like, ugh, you little nasty bastard. I didn't need to hear that. Hey, let's keep it PG here, buddy.
I don't remember if his girlfriend says anything as a Deadite.
No, I don't. Until she comes back to normal, which makes sense that she comes back to normal now because it's the dismemberment, right? Turns him back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? That is right because he
blows off both of her arms. Yeah.
Well, one of her arms already gone. Remember, she cut it off herself.
See, that's something. That's also something, I guess. Now that we figured that out, that makes more sense to why originally Mia, like as the Deadites, like don't do it when she's cutting off her arm. Because like later on in the movie, she turns anyway. But I guess she was like, don't fucking dismember yourself because that cleanses your soul. So that makes sense.
Yeah, the scene where she's bit, where the girlfriend is bit, and she's like squeezing that stuff out of her hand is like so. It's weird. Okay, so this is gonna sound really weird. It's gross, but it's satisfying.
Because it's like when you pop a zit, dude.
Yeah, I'm definitely one of those people that watches like Dr. Pimple Popper on YouTube and stuff.
I catch my girlfriend watching it. I'm like, oh yeah, Dr. Penis Popper, huh? I don't know.
But it just gives me, for some reason, this weird sense of satisfaction, like seeing her squeeze like these basically what look like giant blackheads out of her hand,
Yeah, that was me in high school. Fucking just instead of my hand, it was my face.
But yeah, she ends up cutting her arm off, like we said, because
with the little meat saw.
Spreading.
You remember that
Yeah.
little scene in the beginning with like the little meat they're cutting up? That meat looks so fucking gross.
Oh yeah, it's like I don't think that
Yeah,
meat's ready to eat.
yeah,
It's
I
like
knew
oozing
that was
blood.
definitely like a Chekhov's gun kind of moment because like I don't know how can you put that you can't put that in the movie without some kind of payoff. So I knew it was coming somewhere, but
What is Chekhov's gun?
it's where like so it's like a concept with story writing where if you like so Chekhov's gun, it's from a play, right, where there's a shotgun on like a mantelpiece and like it's
Mhm.
drawn attention to in like one scene, and so later on it's used. I don't remember how because I've never seen the play, but that's generally the idea. Is if you draw attention to like an object or something, there has to be a setup and then a payoff, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. And the more you watch movies, like the more you realize that stuff. Like you're watching it in like the first 10 minutes, like something seemingly random is brought up, or like a lot of times it's handled poorly, right? Like
Yeah,
characters are discussing something, and it's like, why would you two be discussing this? Like you're literally family members. Why are you discussing this like now, 2 years after this thing happened?
yeah,
And then it's like, oh, well, Grandma rose from the dead today. It's like, all right, that's fucking weird.
yeah,
But
yeah. But
I mean,
yeah,
I guess
they were definitely teasing us with the payoff of that. So I'm glad to see it come in with the arm cutting, which was
yeah,
very bloody. I think this is like, so I saw some trivia thing that said this is like the bloodiest movie ever made, like in terms of like gallons of fake blood.
it was until it chapter two.
Uh,
It chapter two actually broke that record.
what is it chapter two?
Um,
So I think this movie probably cheated with the blood rain. What did it chapter two
mm,
do? Because I never
there
saw it.
there's a scene where, and I can't remember the character's name, but it's Jessica Chastain's character in the film. She's in a bathroom stall, and the bathroom starts flooding like like large amounts of blood, and maybe there's another character in the bathroom too, but like it's like a ton of blood. That one scene basically
Broke the
is the
record.
reason why they broke it. Yeah, because like they used real fake blood or whatever, and it was a room that was essentially like a tank, so that they could flood it,
Yeah.
and it got up to like, if I remember right, because it's been a while since I've seen the movie, but she's like even standing up on the toilet, and like it's like all the way up to her chin and stuff. So she ends up, I can't remember. Gosh, I hate when this happens. Like I literally just watched this movie this morning, and I've seen it, like I said, probably 10 times in my life, and I'm still like forgetting details.
Oh yeah,
The
it happens.
girlfriend, the girlfriend's arm gets blown off, and then she
Yeah.
pretty much, he tries to duct tape her arm, right? But then that's like pretty much the last we see of her, correct? I don't think we
Yeah.
ever really see her again.
We don't see her until she comes out with the nail gun.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the nail gun.
Yeah, that's what happens. So he doesn't blow off her. She cuts her own arm off. And then, she
She's possessed. Yeah, she's possessed. She comes out with a nail gun, and that's when
starts.
he shoots her arm off.
Yeah, she like shoots some nails into the other guys. And she's
Eric,
about to
yeah.
kill. Yeah, she's about to kill Dave, but then Eric has like the shotgun, like, or not Eric. Eric uses the nail gun on her. She turns around, and then Dave uses the shotgun to blow her other arm off. So there we go.
Yeah.
And then
And
she
then
turns
she-
back to normal. And she's like, "Oh fuck!" Oh. She goes, "Oh my god, I'm in so much pain."
And then she's pretty much dead at that point.
Yeah, he just dies from blood loss.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. You get the cool scene of after he gets his girlfriend out of the cellar, he like chains it up and stuff.
Yeah. After she does the buy, he finally does the thing where he does the. They do it in the first movie too, where they chain it all up and it looks all scary, blocked off and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you get the cool shot of like her like lifting the door up a little bit and like looking out.
Yeah.
I know we've already kind of talked about the effects and the makeup and stuff, but the Deadeye makeup is just so freaking good.
Oh yeah, it's really good. Deadites in general, I think just a really cool concept. I love Deadites.
Yeah,
I think
but especially Mia's design as the Deadite is just like so like. Whenever I think about Evil Dead, like that is what I think of, is Mia as the Deadite.
Yeah. Yeah, they did a really good job in this movie, capturing that look and making them scary. Because they're not very
Yeah.
scary in fucking Army of Darkness. They're kind of
No.
goofy.
Well, Army of Darkness. I mean, Army of Darkness also has the scene where you got little tiny Ash Williams is running up his legs and shit.
Yeah,
It's so fucking
I've never
stupid.
actually watched all the way through Army of Darkness.
Yeah, there's this random scene where he's like in a cottage or something, and like these, like, I don't know, maybe 8 or 9 of these little tiny ashes come up and they're attacking him. It's like so weird.
I think I stopped at the part where, like, I think he's fist fighting the skeletons for the Necronomicon or some shit. Like, I don't know. I should probably get another chance, but I had the same reaction to that I had to Mad Max 3. So it might be one of those movies I might have to be forced to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably pick Army of Darkness at some point and Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, I love Evil Dead 2 though, and that one's kind of goofy too, but I don't know, it doesn't overdo it for me.
Yeah, it has a good balance. I think the first Evil Dead is like really horror. The second one is a good balance of, can't like a little bit of comedy and still horror, and then the Army of Darkness really goes just kind of full comedy.
Yeah, takes it too far, man.
Yeah, Evil Dead 2 has the iconic scene of like we're all like
they're all laughing at him. Yeah,
they're laughing and stuff, and he's laughing, and everyone's just having a good old time.
Yeah, he's having the time of his life. He thinks it's funny, dude. Of course. Doesn't he? In the first movie, he laughs too. Why? I think right. He like loses his mind and starts laughing.
Maybe. Oh yeah, I think so. But it's more like because of the stress of the situation. I think is like getting to him.
Yeah, they should have that scene in this. It probably would have made Dave more likable. Honestly, I think that's my outstanding issue with this movie. Like the one of the only real outstanding issues is that I just don't think that Dave was likable.
No, yeah, I don't think so either.
And we spent so much time with him.
Yeah, you kind of do get a scene of someone laughing at the situation when Eric.
Yeah, I know it. They did that kind of thing. I do remember that.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to get possessed by then.
Yeah,
he seems kind of just insensitive a little bit. It's like, dude, he just fucking killed like his girlfriend. Just like pleaded for her life, like in front of him. You're gonna laugh, dude. Kind of a bad time. What the fuck.
Yeah. Then they start trying to figure out how to get rid of this, right? Like Eric's like, they're looking at Eric's trying to burn the book at first and it doesn't burn, and
yeah,
then they're looking through it, and that's when you get like the 3 ways to kill or whatever, and he basically calls David a big old pussy.
I like how he's like, Dave's like, we're not killing people, but fucking what's her face is already dead.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they've basically, between the two of them, they've already killed 2 people. So,
I think this scene takes place before the girlfriend dies. So, but I mean, somebody's already dead. So it's like, like, the fuck are you talking about, dude? We're already starting.
Yeah, you're right, because he tells him about the curse or whatever when they're in the shed, and he's putting duct tape across his chest. But yeah, so after the girlfriend dies, they go down into the basement, but I cannot remember why they go down into the cellar exactly. I guess they go down there to get Mia, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And I can't remember exactly the reasoning for going down there, but she attacks David, and then Eric shows up, and after you think that Eric's dead because he's already gotten like the nail gun situation and all that happened, he comes down there and saves David, and
then he gets
David
killed. After that.
Yeah, I think this is when he finally dies. Before he's possessed later on.
After he's taken 1,000 fucking cuts.
He's already, like I said earlier, he's already bled like 10 gallons of blood. David can't burn the house down, so instead he wants to try to bury Mia alive, he goes out and uses his handy dandy duct tape to create his defibrillator. Buries her alive. You get the whole like, once again she's trying to use the Deadite is trying to use Mia's like real voice to
trick him,
trick David,
but he's not having it.
Yeah, he's like,
and
nah,
then she
bitch,
drops the act and just gives him a guilt trip.
Yeah. That's when you find out that like basically she's the one that carried the load or whatever for their mom being the way she was, and David just not giving a shit. We already kind of talked about the defibrillator scene, how it didn't work, and she's like weirdly up and clean and everything, which doesn't matter 5 minutes later because then she gets covered in blood.
Yeah. And then has to cut her own arm off and shit.
Yeah, they kind of give you like two little fake out endings, I guess, because you get this ending right, and you think, okay, everything's well, if you're not familiar with Evil Dead or this film or whatever, you're kind of like, oh, okay, everything might be okay.
Yeah.
And then they're back at the cabin, and he's like, I got to go get the keys, and then you kind of immediately at that point you're like, oh yeah, something's up,
yeah.
And that Eric is back as a Deadite, and he says, he walks up to David. He says, "Oh fuck, you're gonna make him come."
Yeah, he says, "And what's up, Doc?" He said, "Oh shit, you're gonna make him come." It's like, ugh.
You nasty fuck.
It's like, dude, you guys are gonna make me jizz, man.
So yeah, then
he's like,
he
run. Get to the car now.
Mia, get to the car. You don't want to see him.
Yeah, you don't want to see what happens now.
So yeah, he blows himself up, and everyone's dead except for Mia. And then this is when I was meaning by there's a second fake out in, because it's like, oh well, everyone else is dead, Mia's alive, but I guess David kind of saved him, right? Because he killed the Deadite.
Yeah.
Well,
and then one comes out of the fucking ground.
Yeah, like the rain. When the rain starts, I love like the shot of like the one blood drop falling into her hand and like splashing up on her face.
Yeah, and I love it when I love the weird swampy ground they come out of. It's really cool.
Yeah, but yeah, then you get what is, I don't know if they refer to it as this in the movie, in the book, or whatever. If it's just like referred to in the cast or a fan referral or whatever. But the Abomination is what I've always heard this.
Yeah.
Be called
the Abominable Snowman.
I got his penis flapping everywhere as he's walking around.
Yeah, welcome to the Himalayas.
You mentioned earlier about how it has her face, and I don't know exactly if it uses her face to mess with her, or if it uses her face because her soul is the one that it latched onto.
I think that's what it probably is.
Yeah. But it does look weird because it's obviously like a 6.5 foot tall, thin man with Mia's face.
Yeah, and with nasty spinal cord poking out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, gotta go get that scoliosis test.
Yeah. At this fucking school.
Yeah. And then, something else I forgot to bring up. Sorry. When David goes out to the shed to get the battery, like to make the defibrillator, did you notice that it shows the chainsaw for a split second, and then it like the camera pans up to the battery, the jumper or whatever.
Yeah, it fakes you out thinking he's gonna go full Bruce Campbell mode.
Yeah, and then this is when, like, also at the end, when this is like when the switcheroo happens after Mia is trying to get away from the demon, and she rips her own arm off after it gets trapped under the Jeep, and she's got the chain. She's the one using the chainsaw. So there you go, like your two parallels to Ash through Mia is the severed hand and the chainsaw being used to fuck up the demon.
Yeah.
She also gives it a one-liner and all that good stuff.
Goes, yeah, you're terminated, fucker.
She's like, you won't be back, and puts on some sunglasses. Cutting it in half.
I don't remember the one-liner. Feed on this bitch.
Yeah, something like that.
And she cuts her. It looks really cool. It's a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, and it looks cool when it's like sinking back into the ground too.
Yeah,
like,
the eyeballs are like twitching and shit.
Oh yeah,
like, after the head's been cut in half.
When it gets sunk back into the ground, I was sitting there thinking, watching it this morning. I was like, I wonder how they made this, like how they made it.
Yeah, I was thinking that too when I was looking at it.
way.
Like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. They must have like some kind of tub of water or something. They put that, like, filled it up with that fake blood or something, and put the little grass on there.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it is super cool though, like seeing it.
Yeah, it looks really good. Like, that's a great effect. Definitely something that in a lesser movie would be CGI'd.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I mean that's the movie, and then like we already talked about like the post credit stinger or whatever of
and he goes booby.
Campbell saying groovy. Yeah, boobies.
He says boobies.
Which again, let me pull it up. I just want to talk real briefly about the sequel. They like I said, they actually were trying to get a sequel off the ground at one point, which now of course they deleted it from the damn Wikipedia page because Evil Dead Rise was officially announced. So I'll just have to go off memory. If I remember correctly, they were trying to get a sequel going at the time, and I think the talk was that they were going to have the storyline. It was going to be Mia and Bruce Campbell's, Ash, in the sequel or whatever together.
Yeah.
And that's where you get the whole like, oh, so this isn't really a remake per se, and it's not really a reboot. It's more of a soft reboot because it had been like what 20 something years, maybe even 30 years since. Yeah. No, I guess it was 20 about 20 years or so since Army of Darkness. So they were trying to like get it going, but I think the holdup was Jane Levy not wanting to go through any of that again.
Which is funny because it probably would have been completely different. Like she would have just been like a badass like analog. She would have been girl Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, she probably would have had like a lot of blood and stuff. There's probably still that because obviously you're using a chainsaw as a weapon, so
yeah,
there's going to be a lot of blood splattering and everything. But unfortunately, that version of the sequel never happened, and Ash vs. Evil Dead ended up happening, which that's not unfortunate. That's actually a pretty good show, but you got to accept the comedy aspect of it again because it really leans back into the comedy.
Oh, okay.
To wrap up the sequel talk, obviously now, I think in 2019, Sam Raimi announced that they're making Evil Dead Rise is what it is, and for this is only going to be the second sequel that has a unique setting to it.
Yeah.
Because this
one's
actually
like
takes
in
place.
A house.
It's in an apartment building.
Yeah, and it's like it's a lot more horror inspired. This one.
Yeah. Have you seen the trailer for it, by the way? I think
I watched it. But
yeah. Man, there's that shot in the trailer where she's looking through the peephole or whatever, and the mom is on the other side, obviously a deadite, but she just looks so freaking creepy in that shot.
Yeah.
She's like got her head.
I think it's cool. Yeah, cool looking. Yeah, she like looks so she's like talking to her daughter and stuff, and it's like talking like a normal person.
But I'm so excited. I'm definitely going to the theater to see that when it comes out.
I do kind of wish we got some ones that were like I mean, I know the TV series is supposed to be more like the second and third movie, but I don't know. I wish we had something that balanced it, like kind of like how the second movie did, which I always thought was pretty good.
Yeah, so I think the TV series, like I said, it does lean into the comedy, but I think that it is more like the second movie. I think it does have horror elements. It's not just like pure comedy or anything, and some of the demon designs and stuff are actually pretty good. And a little bit unsettling. But it's not like the kind of stuff that'll give you nightmares or anything like that, you know. But you know, I think it's just the directors that Sam Raimi has picked for the last two films, you know, the last two including Rise when it comes out, are, you know, like I said, Fede Alvarez was doing short films, but they were all horror focused, from my understanding. And Lee Cronin, who is the director of Evil Dead Rise, directed a horror movie that released in 2019 or 2018, I think, called The Hole in the Ground.
Yeah.
Which I still haven't watched it, so I don't know if it's good or not. But anyway, that's the whole movie. So I guess we'll get into our recommendations real quick before we wrap up. Owen, would you recommend this film?
Yeah, I think it's good. You know, for a watch. I don't. Maybe if you're like a hardcore fan of the original, you probably won't like it. But you know, if you're like me and you know you enjoy the original couple movies and stuff, but aren't like some kind of you know, diehard militant fan of them, then you'll probably like it for what it is.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely recommend this film. I love the Evil Dead franchise. I've watched all the movies, watched the show, played the game, you know, well, the new game, not the old ones. And I just kind of love the whole like idea of like Deadites and this book that has this power to like basically create demonic possessions and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Evil
a really
Dead
cool concept, yeah.
Yeah, and Evil Dead 2013 is my favorite of the Evil Dead films. I think ranking them, they do get better as they go. Even though Army of Darkness doesn't really have a lot of horror to it, I do think it is a better film than Evil Dead 2. Although Evil Dead 2 is fantastic. And I would put, obviously, the first one at the bottom of the four. But
yeah.
I really love the 2013 one. So, but yeah, that's it. That's our discussion. Lance, if you're listening, we did receive your gifts of you being left out and lonely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so let's talk about, just real quick, we'll go over what we're doing next. Our next movie that we're covering is Lance's pick, and it is Outlaw Josie Wells, or The Outlaw Josie Wells. I'm not entirely sure if there's a "the" in the title. But Owen, do you know what your next movie is going to be?
Nah, I'm probably going to pick it by the next episode.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I took a shot, and you know, I do know what my next movie is going to be, and that is going to be Pearl. So I'm sure Lance is going to be thrilled.
Oh yeah, that's the shit. What is Pearl? Oh yeah, that's
it's the prequel to X.
Prequel to X movie. Yeah.
Yeah. Which when we did the X episode, you were like, man, like I want to watch Pearl now. So like, Pearl is excellent.
Yeah, it sounded like it would probably be something that I would probably like more than OGX. So honestly,
yeah, and
I don't know. I've never been attached to like you know, 70s exploitation movies that much, but you know. but when you described Pearl, it seemed like it'd probably be something up my alley.
Oh yeah, it is very like I know Lance is probably not gonna like it because it is what he considers artsy fartsy. You know,
yeah.
It's not like got a wackadoo plot or anything like The Lighthouse, but it is definitely an artsy film. So, but yeah, that'll be it. And of course, we'll find out your film when we record the next episode
eventually.
But yeah, eventually.
I don't know. I try to think like really hard about. I don't know. I try to pick trendy like internet shit. I think is what I'm gonna try to start picking. Because like the weird ones that have gotten the most views are like the ones that I've picked just because they were being like talked about like online. So I don't know.
You know what's weird? Our second most listened to episode is Mad Max, and that still just blows my mind.
I don't know why. Maybe nobody like hardly ever talks about Mad Max like on podcast platforms. I mean,
maybe. And I mean, the Road Warrior hasn't done like nearly as many, has gotten as many listens as Mad Max has. Like the Road Warrior episode isn't even in our top 10.
yeah.
But Mad Max is second.
It's really
crazy.
hard to decipher what they fucking want from us. God damn it.
Well, it's just like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory episode, right? And I know we have to bring this up every episode, but Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is our #1 episode by a long shot. And I thought that when we did Willy Wonka, it would do pretty well, and it basically did about what our normal listens are. So it's like, man, I don't know. But it is great when one of them picks up steam like that.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Like, so yeah, like I said, some of the ones I've picked that have done well were just ones that I picked that were getting like popular among like I guess the online movie crowd. You know.
That's why you got to pick Avatar for your next one.
Oh yeah, I could pick. Yeah, I've only seen it once, so maybe
I think I've seen it like 2 or 3 times.
I watched it once and I only halfway paid attention. I thought it was really boring.
Yeah, it is boring.
Very derivative. So, but
yeah, I agree.
I'm hoping watch Pulp Fiction do like really well, even though there's 1,000 fucking podcasts on Pulp Fiction. Like, just completely random shit.
Our Australian fans are really waiting with anticipation.
Like, come on, mate. When you gonna do Crocodile Dundee, mate? Come on here.
Yeah, I'm hoping this episode does well because the week that this episode will go live, I think, is either the week before or the week of Evil Dead Rises release in theaters. So we should hopefully be able to capitalize on that. But anyway, I guess that's it for this episode, and we will see you all next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Shit, I was gonna say something that I thought was. Oh yeah. Until next time. I don't know. Go back to hell or something. What did she say at the end?
I don't remember.
It's just like go back to hell.
Until next time, burn the bitch.
Yeah, until next time, go back to hell, bitch.